Hello, I'm Alfie66, and it's that time again. It's time to predict the Premier League. I'm not looking forward to this. I feel like I'm going to get another horrendous points total when I look back at this in May. Last season, my score was 70 points. 70 places wrong combined from 20 teams. But anyway, points total doesn't matter today because we just got to make the predictions. And I'm going to get all 20 right. Probably not. Alright, let's go. 20th, Sunderland. Yep, this is a bit of a tap-in. A lot of people have said that this will be the worst Premier League side of all time, or at least one of them. Not for me. They'll start well, outside the bottom three, but by Christmas they'll be in the drop zone and they won't leave from there. I don't think we're looking at Derby County 2.0. I think they'll be what Southampton were 3 seasons back. Starting off okay, but eventually will just be glued to the foot of the table. They'll put up a decent fight, but no, relegation. 19th, Burnley. Honestly, anyone with a Burnley season ticket, you should stick it in a bonfire. This will be your 4th relegation in Premier League history, and your most boring one yet, which takes some doing. You'll set a record for least highlights on a Sky Sports Premier League video, for what that's worth. And you'll score less goals than the player who wins the Golden Boot. How many poor Championship defences did Burnley fail to score against last season? And the defences are much stronger in this league. This will be a horrid season for Burnley. And to prove it, if Burnley do stay up, I'll pour 5 buckets of ice cream on my head, each one a different flavour. You're going down, no doubt about it. 18th, Leeds. Yep. That's all 3 promoted teams going back down. Listen, I want these predictions to be proven right in May when I look back at them, but this is probably the first time that I've wanted a prediction to be proven wrong. Last season, all 3 promoted teams went straight back down for the 2nd time in a row, but only the 3rd time in history of the Prem. I love seeing the relegation scraps. Back in 2016, when Sunderland, Norwich and Newcastle were all fighting for weeks, that was enthralling. Or 2023, when Forest, Everton, Leicester and Leeds were all at war. But not one promoted side has stayed up since then. And if all 3 go back down again this season, the relegation battle's gone forever. So please, just one promoted side stay up this season. I mean, I'd prefer it if Burnley didn't stay up, because their football is about as much fun to watch as Wayne Rooney in the Bath. But I just want one promoted side to stay up, to keep the future relegation battles alive. But I don't think it will happen. Leeds are finishing 18th, and they'll put up a good fight under a new manager. Daniel Farke will be the first manager to get the sack, and in his place will be Ange Postecoglou. They're still heading down. But please, Leeds, stay up to save the relegation battle. You've got all my support this season, and Sunderland as well, but not Burnley. To quote Will Mackenzie, Burnley can fuck off. 17th, Wolves. This is going to be a mess. Matthias Cunha and Ryan Aït-Nouri are going to be massive misses, and Vitor Pereira's hype from last season will be ripped to shreds. He won't keep his job until May, and if Wolves do finish in the top half of the league, when it next snows in the UK, I'll dunk 5 buckets of ice water on me. 16th, West Ham. West Ham are going to be very close to relegation this season. Graham Potter will be sacked by March. Come on, since he's come in, he's won 5 of his 17 league games in charge, and 2 of them were against Ipswich and Leicester. Whoopie-doo. He'll be gone, and in his place, I can see a Championship coach like Liam Manning or even Frank Lampard taking over from him. And they'll be very close to the drop, but survive it by 6 points. 15th, Brentford. Thomas Frank has left Brentford. I didn't think it'd ever happen unless they got relegated. And now Keith Andrews is at the wheel, a guy who was recently a set-piece coach. This just reminds me of Ted Lasso, where Nathan Shelley, someone who was recently a kit man, was becoming the new manager of West Ham. That's like replacing the Prime Minister with the owner of the local post office. And they'll be poor on the pitch too. But I'm one of the only people who hasn't written off Andrews as a complete waste. I think he'll be what Gary O'Neill was to Bournemouth in 2022-23. They seemingly had no chance of survival when he came in, but he eventually did survive. And I think it'll be the same for Andrews, squeaking away from the drop zone by 6 points. But still, there is no way they make the top half. If they do, then I'll go down to the G-Tech and lick one of the turnstiles. 14th, Crystal Palace. It's a little known fact that since Nottingham Forest snitched on Palace for their owner having control of Lyon as well, that Oliver Glasner has since stuck a bomb in the owner's oven, and his house is still burning to this day. Okay, on a serious note, the owner of Palace is very much alive, though I'm sure that Oliver Glasner is contemplating sending explosives to the City ground or his house. This season, I reckon the European adrenaline will get to them, and they'll drop down. Their squad is good enough for the Conference League, but we've seen clubs like West Ham, Brighton and Villa qualify for Europe, and then the season after drop back because of the European football adrenaline. They'll be comfortably far from the relegation zone, but it will be sloppy. 13th, Fulham. Fulham is the team I'm never ever sure about, but one thing's for sure, they'll finish mid-table. It's just about where. They're not like Crystal Palace, obsessed with 12th. They're all over the middle of the table. Get Fulham to Europe or something, just to make them a little bit more interesting. But yes, 13th. 12th, Everton. Everton are not going down, and they won't even be close. They'll get safe mid-table and get 50 points in the process. Solid. Next, 11th Brighton. This will be a drop off and they will be unlucky to miss out on top half. They'll finish 1 point behind the team in 10th, but overall they'll have a good season. I've got a big feeling that Charalampos Kustelas will have a great season, and by next summer he'll have interest from bigger clubs, but overall mid. 10th Man United. 10th is generous for Man United right now. I reckon they'll improve, but they'll never be threatening at all. Not in the top 4 for 1 week of the season. They'll still be an absolute joke. If they do get Champions League football, I'll get a Man United fan to throw 50 oranges at my head. 9th Bournemouth. I don't know what to do with Bournemouth this season. Milos Kerkez, Ilya Zabani and Dean Hyson will all be massive misses, and they do need to bring in defenders quick. They've got the rest of August to do it. Andoni Raiola won't be stupid and he will bring defenders in, but they won't get Europe, which is disappointing. Still, it'll be a solid season, but not quite as good as last season. 8th Tottenham, similar to Man United. Tottenham aren't going to be a threat to the top 4 at all, but Thomas Frank will do a good job compared to last season. I'd have done a good job at Spurs compared to last season, but I don't think he'll be the next Pochettino. A manager of a smaller club that gets a jump to Spurs and makes them world class. No, he won't be that. Still amazes me how Pochettino won less trophies at Spurs than some fat Viking from Australia. Frank will be alright, but he won't do anything special in his first season. 7th Aston Villa. Another drop off from last season. I think Aston Villa will fall off the pace and grab Conference League football. Still, it'll be a points total in the 60s and a decent season. 6th Newcastle. This is going to be a repeat of 23-24 when Newcastle last qualified for the Champions League. They would have qualified for the Conference League in 2024 had Man City beaten Man United in the FA Cup final. But no, Man United won and got European football despite finishing 8th. 6th place Chelsea got pushed down to the Conference League, and 7th place Newcastle missed out on Europe completely. Maybe that was good for them, because the following season, 24-25, they didn't have the distraction of Europe, recovered and got 5th, which is now a Champions League spot. And like they did in 2023, they'll fall off due to the Champions League adrenaline. The same thing that happened to Aston Villa last season. Europa League football for them. 5th Nottingham Forest. Yep, Forest for the Champions League. They've kept the squad that was fantastic last season. They deserved better than Conference League in my opinion. They deserved hotels in Munich, not apartments in Lithuania. Not games in stadiums that are less crowded than a train station in Cumbria. But it doesn't matter, they were snitches and got Europa League instead. They'll get at least as far as the semi-finals there and will kick on in the league. Go on Forest. 4th Man City. I hate Man City. This plastic club had hilarious fall off last season. 1 win in 13. That was brilliant and painful to watch at the same time. And they're going to continue stumbling. They'll finish within 5 points of Forest and will finish at least 6 points off the team in 3rd. I know they've done well in the transfer market and that Rodri's coming back, but still, I don't believe that Pep has another title in him. This could be his last season. 3rd Chelsea. Chelsea mean business. João Pedro is going to net 15 plus goals, and Enzo Maresca will fix his form and prevent embarrassing losses to terrible teams. Like last season when they lost to Ipswich Town. That's like losing a game of chess to your pet goldfish. But anyway, Maresca will make Chelsea look strong again, but they won't be in a title race. They'll be out of it by April. 2nd Arsenal. Sorry Arsenal. This will be the closest one yet. Victor Gyökeres will score 20 plus goals, but they will just miss out. Still, over 80 points on the board, and there will be a trophy coming to the Emirates this season. I don't care if it's the League Cup or the FA Cup, there will be a trophy in the Arsenal team photo next year, and that means 1st Liverpool. Super team. Absolute super team. Please get proved wrong. But that's the end of the video. What did you think of those predictions? Again, were they good? Were they bad? Were they unredeemable? Will I look like an absolute fool when I look back at this in May? If you enjoyed the video, remember to like, subscribe so you don't miss a thing, and I'll see you in the next video.